Another patch, another batch of lore. Now let's get farming. Starting with the most obvious, you'd have to skip every dialogue to miss it. Two characters got funky souls. First is Capitano, who is a Conrian veteran and thusly cursed with immortality. His body deteriorates while both his mind and strength fade. All the while, he isn't allowed to die so easily, and will be rejected by Irminsul if he does. By the way, has anyone pointed out that Conry and Natlan both have an 8-sided star emblem? Food for thought. The second weird soul is Ororon, who was born with plenty of empty space upstairs. Due to his half-soul, he was to be used as a sacrificial ferryman for lost souls who never found their way to the Night Kingdom. This would have most likely killed him, but it's a sacrifice the elderly were willing to make. Fortunately, they were all talk and came up short in the walk department. Staying on the topic of souls, we now know that forging an ancient name actively drains the life of the blacksmith. To reclaim a spirit from the Night Kingdom, collateral is due. Breaking news! The moon is dead! At least we have a body now. According to very old lore, Teyvat originally had 3 moons: Aria, Sonnet, and Canon. They were goddess sisters who illuminated the night sky and ruled over the Seelie race. 2 died in a quote-unquote calamity long ago, likely referring to the First or Second War for Teyvat. Those 2 shattered, while the third's remains still hang in the sky. After Malwika blasts the Abyss-Eye with a Kamehameha, we see one of the shattered 2 wound up in the Abyss. It's possible the sisters watched over one realm each: the Light, Void, and Human. So, we finally gotta sit down and ask a mid-tier god some real questions. The Lord of the Night, Yahul Takuten, gave us a big ol' lore dump the likes of which we haven't seen since Nouvelet a year ago. I'm working on it, I swear. First up, we learned about Natlan's artificial ley lines. They are akin to a robot arm attached to fleshy Teyvat, or a transplanted plant organ. This metaphor is getting weird, but that's Natlan for you. This is the reason there is no Pyro Traveler yet. This is an entirely different kind of system, barely related to the one that gifted the previous 5 elements. It's likely Traveler will only become Pyro after anchoring themselves in Natlan's ley lines, through an ancient name. The Lord of the Night revealed that Seelies, as well as herself, are degraded angels. We don't actually have much information on Teyvat angels at the moment, but I think it's safe to assume they're fairly high on the god scale, possibly between Archons and Shades. When Traveler asks her about a particular god we've been asking everyone about for years, the Lord of the Night already had a speech prepared. Renova, the goddess of death and shade of the primordial one, fragment of Celestia itself. Not even gods dare speak the name of a shade, lest they draw their attention. But I do. Renova, the Shade of Death, long ago made a deal with Xbalanque, the first Pyro Archon of Natlan, who slew the Pyro Dragon. He foresaw the Archon system would lead to stagnation and refuse his throne's immortality, but welcomed the power. He was a staunch believer that he was not the hottest shit to ever exist, and that much cooler people would come around who could kick his ass. Natlan would need these incremental upgrades to their leaders if they were to fight off the Abyss for good. Xbalanque also had Renova lend him her authority of death, so we could set up Natlan's ley lines and imbue them with the Night Kingdom, leaving Yahul in charge with her immortal longevity. Renova, in a much calmer voice than we had heard previously, told him wielding a Shade's authority was taboo, and she would pretend he stole it if discovered. Using the power of death comes with a hefty price. Like forging an ancient name, death costs life. The shade was vague for when the bell tolls, only that it must be answered. Before her bill arrives, Mawika has one final mission to go on with the Traveler. While the material world of Natlan was cleansed in the incredibly depressing war arc, there is still corruption in the Night Kingdom. If it lingers, nothing will have changed from the Cataclysm. The final piece of info from the Lord of the Night is right up my alley. Phlogiston is pure, undiluted elemental energy. It is pure, draconic light realm energy that can be separated into Tevat's 7 elements. It is described as white light splitting into a rainbow after passing through a prism. In this case, Celestia holds the prism between the light and human realms. Another brick in the wall against the void. There's only one this time, and it brings up more questions for future updates to answer. Ororon is now the 3rd character in total and first outside of Snezhnaya to have himself a silver vision. Every single other vision has a bronze casing, but not Child, Arlecchino, and Ororon. I've honestly been racking my brain trying to think of what connects those 3, and only those 3. I've come up empty. If you have any ideas, go ahead and tell me down below. I need answers. I'll start shallow here. I already made it clear I believe Renova is the true name of the Sustainer of Heavenly Principles, who beat up the Traveler Twins in the prologue. It makes no sense for the Lord of the Night to bring up that name in that context otherwise. Capitano's fate is sealed, in my opinion. Either he will defeat Mawika before she leaves, claiming the title of Pyro Archon himself to catch a god-killing bullet for her, or he will make a deal with Renova or the Lord of the Night to transfer the curse of undying placed on his soul to hers instead, dying of old age in an instant. According to our good friend Dainsleif, the only ones who can do anything to the curse are those on a similar plane to the ones who cast it. An angel might have such power. The last unprovable speculation for now is another Lord of the Night theory, and this one gets a little wild. I believe I know who and where she came from. Let's lay out the facts we know for certain. She is, or was, an angel. She rules over death on a local god level, and she showed up in Natlan when the Shade of Death made a deal with Xbalanque. We do happen to know of an outcast angel woman and a man of death in the form of a son, who both liked each other very much. For many Ashikai fans, a lot of alarm bells started ringing. Yes, I believe Yehultakuten to be the daughter of King Desheret and Nabu Malikata.